Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Industrial Packaging Podcast with me, your host, Nathan Dube, Digital Marketing Specialist at Industrial Packaging. On today's episode, we have Vice President of Industrial Packaging, Jarrod DiZazzo, and on today's episode, we're going to cover the topic of outsourcing your primary packaging. Jarrod, welcome to the show.
Hey, Nate, thanks for having me.
No problem. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today. So without further ado, let's jump into the first question. Can you tell us a bit about industrial packaging and your role at the company?
Absolutely. So we're a packaging company located in central Massachusetts. We've got about 170,000 square foot facility where we focus primarily on primary packaging and secondary packaging. We also have a large business segment that deals in heat sensitive films, stretch wraps, and the equipment that those pieces of film will run on. We also have great partners in the stretch wrap industry, and we also sell and service that equipment. As far as my role here at Industrial Packaging, as you mentioned, I'm the vice president and one of the owners. One of what I do here is I oversee the company's operations, sales, the compliance segments, but really most importantly, what I do is I make sure that I support the teams to provide our customers and our partners with what they need to continue to grow and develop their businesses.
Fantastic. So tell us, where can people find you on the web?
Sure. So I always put people onto our website. I think that if you want to learn more about me, if you want to learn more about the company, anything that we may be able to do to help, go to industrialpackaging.com. It's a wealth of knowledge there. And like everybody else, I feel you can find me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, jumping into question 3 then, which is the question of the day. What is primary packaging?
Yeah, good question, Nate. And as I was jotting down my notes here, trying to describe it, I think I came up with a way that might make sense to everybody. So primary packaging really is the first barrier of packaging that contains a good. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. Let's take jelly beans. If you were to go to the store and buy jelly beans, you wouldn't buy them loose, right? You'd buy them in a bag. Those jelly beans are touching the inside part of the bag, so there's no barrier between the jelly beans and the bag itself. So that bag is considered the primary package. So really, it's the layer of packaging that's closest to the product. That's like the best way I can describe it.
Simple, straightforward, elegant. Very nice. So why would someone want to outsource their primary packaging?
So oftentimes when I'm speaking with clients, there's a couple of things that are common throughout each one of them. The first thing that I always hear is space. My company's growing. I'm running out of space. I don't have the footprint to continue to grow. I'm probably not at the right time in my business to go make that leap and get a big facility. So really, I need the economy of scale, which we can provide.
Okay, great answer. Now, if people were interested in outsourcing their primary packaging, what do people need to know and do before attempting to outsource their primary packaging?
Sure. So I always start with volume, right? How much do you want packaged? Everyone is trying to drive costs out of their system. The best way to do that is to allow us to run more of your product. So if you know the product and volume that you're looking to run, that's where I'd start. You need to have a really good handle on the size of the run that you want and the volumes that you want us to produce. I'd also recommend that you be very comfortable with putting your brand in somebody else's hands. Allow your co-packer to use their experience to create an awesome product that you can be proud of, right? This is their wheelhouse. You should leverage their expertise. And I guess the last thing I would recommend here is that you understand what your quality guidelines are on the front end and really communicate those well right up front. If you've got very high quality standards, you want to be very transparent with your packaging partner from the get-go.
All right. Very concise. Excellent information. This next one's an interesting question. After my tenure here at Industrial Packaging for the past 3.5 years or so, I've come to the conclusion that we are set up to work well with Fortune 500 companies. Why should a Fortune 500 company choose Industrial Packaging to outsource their primary packaging?
Yeah, and Nate, as you know, we've got a couple of Fortune 500 companies that we've been doing business with for 25 plus years. So for us, it really allows them to focus on their brand rather than the manufacturing of their product. Brands and branding is the most critical piece to their growth. Large companies should outsource so they can focus on the real opportunities like customer interactions, product innovation, and that retail and market growth. Let a company like ours do the heavy lifting to really get those products ready to go to market. Every time that you talk to one of these large companies, it's very much all about the brand. How you get to market, what the packaging looks like, the kind of nuts and bolts of it, they don't really want to play with that. They really want to focus on what they can do to grow their brand. So if these large companies make that decision to outsource their packaging, it allows them to focus more resources on growing their brand. To me, that's the biggest value that we can bring to the table.
That's awesome. And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you think about major brands, whatever they may be, obviously they're going to want to focus on other elements, like you said, product innovation, maybe their online presence. So it sounds like we can offer a lot of value to Fortune 500 companies. So I guess my next question would be, what other contract packaging services does industrial packaging offer that may be useful to a Fortune 500 company?
Yeah, absolutely. So primary packaging is kind of what we've discussed thus far. We also offer secondary packaging, which is the next barrier of packaging that you would find. So those same jelly beans that we talked about, let's say you buy a bag or a box that within that bag or box you have 10 or 12 bags of jelly beans. That outermost layer is now called secondary packaging. A lot of value there as well. You can do different multi packs, you can do different graphics that maybe you don't have the footprint to do on a single bag. So, primary packaging, secondary packaging, 3PL, third party logistics, warehouse storage, things along those lines that when people tend to run out of room, they can call a company like ours and we can come in and carve out some square footage within our facility to house their products. We do a lot of pick and pack. We do a lot of display builds, bag in a box type things. So, really, anything that requires light industrial labor, space, access to equipment, things along those lines, we're willing to partner with people to come up with the right solution for them. So, anything that kind of falls in that scope, I think that we can be a partner with.
Awesome. I think it sounds like we can offer quite a lot of value to the customers who come to us. We can take a lot off their plate, which allows them to focus on their core capabilities. So I guess the next question would be, how is industrial packaging able to help clients navigate the ongoing supply chain disruptions in the world today with everything that's going on? While a Fortune 500 may be interested in outsourcing, I think they have to be very careful who they choose. So, how are we able to help our clients navigate these ongoing supply chain disruptions that we're seeing in the world at this time?
Yeah, Nate, I think that the right word is navigate, right? Because there isn't a clear path to tread these waters that we're in. Every day, there's new obstacles that present themselves, regardless of the industry that you're in. I believe that we've been able to help our partners through those partnerships and our vendor relationships and those strong partnerships that we have with our customers. We're very plugged into our customers as well as our vendors, and we're aware of the headwinds before they happen. So we get to plan accordingly and can really navigate and avoid a lot of those things that maybe some other companies can't. The last thing there is our brand promise. I think we really do strive to not only not surprise our customers and our vendors, but we want to be highly responsive and get it right and make it right. Those principles, I think, allow our teams to focus and help companies kind of be more proactive than reactive when those headwinds do start to come up.
I would absolutely agree with that. I think everything you mentioned in context with our company core values, it really helps us to be unique within our industry. But what else would you say separates industrial packaging from other co-packers in the industry?
When I reflect on this, it's an easy term that gets kicked around a lot, but I believe wholeheartedly in it. And the word is culture, right? So it's our culture and our teams. The culture that we've been able to create here at Industrial Packaging really binds our teams together to work as one. There's full transparency throughout our organization. I think that we focus on our brand promise to deliver it so often that it allows us to be creative, out of the box thinkers, and really do what's best for the customer. Being the size company that we are, who service Fortune 500 companies and smaller, It allows us to act quickly. We can adapt. We can pivot when needed. And I think most importantly, as I mentioned in the last question, we're able to see what's coming next, right? We work extremely hard at building the relationships that we have with our vendors and customers, and we do cherish those things. We also believe that the relationships that we do have are fundamentally important. So we're going to do whatever we can to not only keep those, but continue them and grow them.
100% agree. I've seen everything that you just described every day working here at Industrial Packaging. So I think we are set up to be of service to new Fortune 500 companies. And as Jarrod mentioned, we do work with a few others. So that brings us to our last question, which is, what is your favorite product here at Industrial Packaging?
Yeah, it's fun. I tried not to say primary packaging because that was kind of the topic and let me introduce something else. But, I've been with the company for 20 plus years and I've seen it go in many different directions, different projects that I've personally worked on, different things that have been brought in through other people, just been around packaging a long time. But really it's primary packaging. That's what I get excited about. That's what I enjoy talking about. I think that's the biggest opportunity for growth for not only our company, but for our customers as well. I've seen a lot of projects come and go, as I just said, but primary packaging is something that not only I get excited about, but the customer gets excited about. With the wealth of knowledge that we have on site, every application that we've done on primary packaging, I've actually seen the positive impact that it has on our customer. And at the end of the day, right, that's what we want to do. We want to have a positive experience where we can help somebody else's brand grow. And every time that we have a primary packaging project come through, that's the result that gets delivered. So that's really cool and it's fulfilling for me. So again, I had a hard time not going with primary packaging.
Well, fair enough. I would have to say my favorite is stretch film. I've become rather enamored with it over time, but I can certainly see why primary packaging would be your favorite.
Absolutely.
But hey, that was the last question. So I want to thank you so much for taking time to come on the show today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Nate. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for another episode of the Industrial Packaging Podcast with me, your host, Nathan Dube, Digital Marketing Specialist at Industrial Packaging. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you will come in for the next one. But until then, I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time.